when I came round, as it were, the cardiac surgeon was standing over me, his hand on my arm. And I will never forget this. He was an enormous black man. I mean, clearly he spent a lot of time at the gym. He was extremely fit, with the kindest face you can ever imagine. And he was such a nice man. He was so kind to me. He was very reassuring. He explained to me what had happened. And I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in an afterlife. But just for a second, when I looked up at this man with this warm, comforting smile, I did just briefly wonder, have I died? Am I in another place? So the day after the heart attack, I'm chatting with my surgeon. He's explaining what's happened, and he shows me a before and after photograph of my heart. And in the first picture, it looked like a small road map for a small village, and everything had kind of stopped at this cul-de-sac. And then he showed me the after photograph, and it was like a road map of Spaghetti Bloody Junction. So the heart attack itself was relatively minor. The insertion of a single stent resolved the problem, and I was fine. So the physical effect of the heart attack was relatively minor, but the mental impact it had was enormous, absolutely enormous. I said previously that a few days after receiving the leukemia diagnosis, I was absolutely fine, and I carried on life as normal. And I developed this kind of medical arrogance that I thought, wow, I've had a terminal diagnosis, and yet I'm absolutely fine. I'm still working, I'm still doing everything I used to do. I must be bulletproof, I must be invulnerable. But the heart attack changed all of that. It sounds stupid looking back at it now, but the night I came home from the hospital, I was terrified of closing my eyes to go to sleep because I thought I would never wake up again. Now I know in retrospect that's ridiculous, but that's just kind of how I felt at the time, and it was indicative of the change in my emotional state. My confidence in my body had been shattered. My confidence in my medical self had been eroded. I felt vulnerable and I felt weak. And while I might have recovered very quickly from the heart attack, I'm not sure I ever fully recovered from the psychological impact of the heart attack. But here's the thing. Human beings, we as human beings, are incredibly resilient. We bounce back despite everything that's thrown at us. And all you have to do is look through history at how human beings have shown that resiliency. I didn't want to be one of those guys who just gave up. I wanted to fight like hell. I'm a cussing, stubborn old son of a bitch, and I was not going to give up. I had clients who needed me. I had clients who had complex problems that needed to have solutions found for them, and programs designed and implemented, and I was buggered if I was going to let them down. So I needed to bounce back, and bounce back I did. as the storm abated, pretty much everything went back to normal. I was back working, I was back playing golf, I was carrying on life as normal. Yes, of course, I was a little more circumspect. Of course, I was a little more cautious in my approach. I started to take notice and listen to my body. I started to understand that when I was tired, that meant I needed rest. But beyond that, I was carrying on life as normal. It was an issue that we all knew was there. My GPs, my haematology team, my cardiac team, and most of all myself. We were all guilty of just putting it on a back burner, just ignoring it, while we dealt with the leukemia diagnosis and the heart attack and the fallout from both of those things. But this issue was getting bigger and bigger every day, and we'd ignored it. And it became an issue that would change my life forever.